Hi everyone, this is I Am Spoon with a new game of Brass that took place in the recent days. It's again a game played on the parlor and not on Tabletop Simulator, which means this game is played asynchronously. I took some screenshots on my moves, mostly, so you won't see live the actions of each player. You'll instead see screenshots every single time that it's my turn. And I think it's quite an interesting game. I only started taking screenshots on turn 5, unfortunately, so you miss out a bit the early parts. So let me explain a bit what happened early on. And in a nutshell, kind of the pitch of this game is that I end up with a fairly large lead in the Canal era. I think something like 20 points lead. And the big question is it possible for the other players to come back and close a 20-point gap disadvantage? So this game starts with basically orange goes for a pottery strategy. And I will once make a video on pottery. It's fairly tricky to play, it's not so easy. And in particular, it requires the right cards in hand and the right merchant setup. And this happens, I mean, in my games, maybe 10% of the time. In 90% of the games, I would not even consider going pottery. But this is a game with a good pottery setup. You have a pottery in Nottingham, and you have the general merchant in Oxford. This means you can use the Coventry and the Belper locations to build your pottery and then sell to them. And this is, I'd say, quite an ideal setup for the pottery player. Now, typically, you don't want to build so many canals as what Orange did here. I think also Orange didn't want to do it. It's just how the game played out a bit. He was kind of forced to build a lot of canals, 3, and then I think eventually he builds even a 4th one. And 4 canals is really too many. Most builds get away with 2 or 3, some even with just 1. So immediately Orange is kind of off a wrong start, like off a wrong footing. I will maybe discuss it in a separate game once the details of pottery and the nuances of it. Purple plays a fairly standard brick, builds a level 1 iron in Stoke-on-Trent. I end up overbuilding it because we ran out of iron, kind of funny. So kind of a bit of a rough start for Purple, and a good start for me. I'm developing away my level 1 coal, my level 1 iron, and my 2 level 1 beers, and then I built 2 beers already. Because these locations, they can go away quite quickly. Actually, Walsall not so much because there's only 1 card, but locations like Burton-on-Trent, Stone, Stafford, they only have 1 beer, and there's 2 cards of them, and then this can go away quickly. So I think it's wise to secure the beer locations early on. And then we have Blue, who's going for a big cotton strategy. And I'd say the merchant setup is not really ideal for cotton, but it's actually it's quite good now that I think a bit more of it. I prefer when the cotton is in Nottingham. The reason is 3 victory points is very good bonus, is amongst the best bonuses. Of course, 4 victory points is better, you will say. But the advantage of the 3 victory points is that there's more people likely here to connect to Derby. It's going to be easier to feed off other people's network. And it just plays very easily, to be honest. It feels very comfortable to play around Derby. It's also where you want to be. You're in the start of rail because the most valuable links are around here. So you ideally play around Derby. But here, Blue takes a slightly different approach. Takes a long, connects Shrewsbury to Coalbrookdale and builds a level 1 call. And this is something that I see sometimes weaker players do, and I'm always a bit critical of it because they're just helping out other players to build their iron mines, and I think that's kind of not a good move. However, here it's a bit exceptional. I think with the cotton being 4 points here, and if Blue then manages to build the cotton here and sell, it's going to be still quite valuable, actually. So maybe one of those rare occasions where it is acceptable to connect Coalbrookdale, and then let someone else profit from your links here. So this is kind of a turn 5 basically. So we've gotten all our cards already, and we're playing down our last 8 cards. So here it shows the same turn 5, but this time it's a computer screen, so the screenshot is a bit better. We see a bit better what's happening. We see here that Blue that 4 develops. Developed all his cotton 1 and 2 away, then developed away his level 1 beer, and then another for the 4th developed another level 1 beer and a level 2 beer. So 4 develops. Blue is a player that often plays cotton and often does it with 4 develops. I think more traditional or more standard, or what I've more seen, is to play cotton with 3 develops. But personally, I also sometimes play it with 4 develops, and I think it's just as playable with 4 develops than with 3. Let's see how this game plays out. So Blue builds in Birmingham. That's very convenient when you have cotton here in Oxford. Other players will connect Birmingham to Oxford to get iron out, etc. And then you can just build your cotton here uncontested. No need to build a link. And then from my side, I build my level 3 iron here in Coventry, and build a canal. So you also better see here what I developed. So I developed away level 1 coal, level 1 iron, and the 2 level 1 beers. Many players instead prefer to develop away the level 1 crate, but I think you can also play it in this variation, and as you will see, it's actually completely playable. So I'm off a good start. I'm feeling actually quite happy. I think orange started a bit off the wrong footing, and to be fair, it's not always easy with pottery. And then purple got overbuilt here, and Stoke-on-Trent basically building a link for me here because of the many develops that were happening. I'd say more than usual, and even at high prices. Blue was developing, I think, even at the very high prices. So this is kind of the situation on turn 5. And let me move to the next round. Now we're on round 6. What happened in the meantime? So orange built his level 2 beer in Stafford. Ideally, if you go pottery, you build 2 level 2 beers. Yeah, and orange here makes a mistake and connects Derby to Nottingham, and I'm not really sure why. This just helps whoever wants to build in Derby. And I guess he had something in mind, but there's no need to connect already. You can do this at the end. You don't need to connect now. There still are sufficient turns. So kind of no need to do this now. And this ends up helping me because I'm able to build level 1 crate in Burton-on-Trent. Originally my plan was to Canal to Birmingham and then build a level 1 crate here. But now I can do it the other way around. I can connect up north. This has a potential advantages. I mean, I have this card here where I can build my crate. So my plan was I'm going to build a crate here in Derby. But I could have also done it in Birmingham if I had connected to Birmingham. I think just this link here will end up being more valuable than the link to Birmingham. Yeah, so profiting here from some of the mistakes Orange made, building too many links early on, basically. And especially this one here, I don't think it's necessary. Purple, in the meantime, built some extra beers. I think that's it. Took some extra loans. And I'm not entirely sure here what happened again, because I don't have a view on what cards Purple played here, and I don't remember some of the early parts of Canal, but somehow Purple ends up a bit behind compared to what he should have been, and I'm not really sure why. So because he took a loan, then built a level 1 iron here, then I guess took a loan and built a level 2 iron here, now took a loan again, but I'm not really sure why, because he has more than enough money. You don't need to take a loan now. You can take a loan at the end, like loan and sell at the end of Canal is ideal. So I'm not really sure anymore, but I might miss something because this game was played over, across 2 weeks or so, and I might miss some elements that make sense. But in my view, it's not necessary here to loan when you have 30 cash or so. You don't want to be losing money. Yeah, then it's the 7th turn, so close to the final turn, and here Orange ends up building his level 3. In Coventry, overbuilding is level 2. That's one way to do it. I kind of also, so you basically reserve the spot where you're level 2 and then overbuild it with level 3. You can also just develop away the level 2 and develop something else away. Let's say the level 1 coal, for example. I think I prefer slightly that version, but this is also playable. Blue from his side built in Coventry, and basically he took something like 3 loans and offset them with the level 1 coal and the level 2 coal. So very, very nice there. And then his plan is to, and he also builds a beer here in Derby. Probably had the Derby card. Of course, he gives a lot of link points to Orange and me, but maybe, I know, he didn't have a Nuneaton card. And what other locations are available? There's not many other locations available, actually. Colebrookdale he already used another, so or maybe Utox here, but he might not have had the card, so he's forced to play here. Purple continues. And again, like Purple is like bleeding money, -3 per round, even though he has more than enough. So I think there's something wrong in the play order, or maybe I missed something, but I think he took a loan that he didn't have to take. He could have waited. In any case, he gets out his beer, his 2 level 2 crates. So this is kind of fairly standard break play. The issue is that normally with break play, you would also get your level 3 iron out. And ideally, you would like, overbuild your level 1 iron, but you can't do that anymore because I overbuilt it. But maybe here, build a link to Dudley and then build in Dudley. Or build a link to Valsall actually, and build, and yeah, there's more link points. But I'm not entirely sure why Purple didn't do it. Maybe he was lacking a card, and there's something off in his turn or order, kind of in his actions that he took. Like, yeah, he shouldn't not have that much cash. What is good though for Purple is that he hasn't built any links. Well, he has built 1 link only. So ideally, you kind of minimize the number of links you built. But the links between Derby, Burton-on-Trent, Walsall, and Birmingham, like these 3-4 links, they in Canal can end up being very worthwhile, especially if there's if people are selling here, if there are merchants here accepting. Of course, if there's no merchants accepting, it can play out very different. Not every game is the same. But now we basically see that the link here between Derby and Burton-on-Trent is worth 8 points, which is really, really high and exceptional, especially for Canal. And this one here is worth 6 points, maybe even 7 if something gets built here. So these are 2 very valuable links, and I have both of them. The links here between Coventry and Birmingham are 6 points. This one is 6 points. So there are some acceptable links here as well. But yeah, Orange just built too many links, and Pottery is very action tight, so you can't really afford to do these unnecessary links. And ideally in Pottery you get 2 level 2 beers out, and actually Orange will not manage, will have to sell using one of the merchant beer. Of course you could say the merchant beer is 3 points, it's not too bad in this scenario, but it still shows that he spent too many actions on the canals, and hence could not get fully his build working. From my side, I end up scouting this turn, and with the wild industry I built in Derby. So the wild location I keep for myself. And yeah, so this is actually really nice. The level 4 iron is so strong, gives so many points, 9 points. There's no building that immediately flips and gives you 9 points, and here it does. And I think it goes back to like Orange making a mistake here in connecting to the market. It was not necessary. Orange could basically connect to the market next turn and then sell. Or if he really wanted to load and sell on the last turn, he could have connected the last second. But he connected too early. Maybe someone else would have connected, and then yeah, he wouldn't have had to build the canal. But in any case, there's small mistakes here from Orange, and I capitalize on it by building the level 4 iron. And I'm doing really well. A typical brick build is pretty much the same as this, but minus the level 4 iron and minus the extremely valuable links here. So I'm doing really well. And I still have a wild, which I'm going to use to build in Birmingham, my level 2 crate, and then sell, or in Belper I could as well. I was thinking about it, and I think actually Birmingham is probably better than Belper. I mean, in Birmingham I give a bit more points to Orange. I mean, 1 more point, but this is not a big deal. I just think Birmingham is a better location to be in. You can then like easily connect to the market and spread out, etc. While in Belper you're a bit isolated there, it's not so valuable to be there. Having said that, yeah, let's maybe have first a look at Blue. So this is the last turn of Canal, and Blue builds in Kidderminster, his other level 3 cotton, and then sells using the merchant beer, and then using his own beer up north. So typical cotton builds would rather be 2 or 3 cottons, I mean 3 cottons ideally, and then you sell using merchant beer or maybe someone else's beer, but not selling using your own beer. So you would do it with 3 crates, or in case it doesn't really work, you do it just with 3 cottons. But if it somehow doesn't work, you use 2 cottons and loan and a bit more and go with extra cash into the next age. However, in the scenario where you go 4 develops, you build 1 or 2 of your own beer. In this scenario here, because 4 points bonus is really nice, there was no need to build a second beer. Yeah. So this is for Blue. Then it's back to me. So as I said, just build, and I think I should have built in Birmingham. Actually the level 2 crate and sold, but I end up doing Belper. I'm not entirely sure anymore why I did so. Maybe I had something in mind, but I kind of already had access. Yeah, so this is the first round of rail you're looking at. So I built here in Belper and then sold. So this is the first round of rail, and it's interesting to see kind of what happened, where do we stand. But it's pretty standard what happened. So Orange sold off his 2 potteries that he had, so the one in Belper and the one in Coventry, using the 3 using this merchant beer, which gives 3 victory points bonus, this merchant beer, and then his own beer. Fairly standard. The weakness is because he built so many canals, which he shouldn't have done, his level 1 iron goes away, and ideally he would have had 1 more extra action and built a level 2 iron or something. So that's for the end of the canal for Orange. And Purple sold his 2 crates, and I think one of his beers he didn't consume. Yeah, he didn't consume one of his beers, and kept it for the next age to double rail, and instead preferred to take the +3 beer merchant bonus. And so now it's the start of rail, and it's kind of a good moment to pause and look who's ahead. How are we doing? And you immediately see I have 85 points. I have 27 coins and 8 income, which is acceptable. It's not exceptionally good. I think it could be a bit higher, but then 85 points is really exceptionally good. More typical numbers are 70 to 75. Or maybe a bit lower, like 55, 60, but you have more cash. You can have like up to 100 cash or so. I even tried a recent game with 150 cash, but it just barely didn't work. I think 150 cash is too much, but if you have like 50 to 60 points, but you have a lot of cash, you're still in the game. But 85 points is really high, and generally if you achieve 85 points, you have low money, low income. And in this game I have decent money, decent income, and and a lot of points. I'm basically 20 points ahead of all the others. And this is, blue has pretty much the same cash and income as me, and 21 less points. And then purple starts rail by connecting here, here, and here. It makes sense, but it's only at 69 points after having played already the 2 actions in rail. So I have still my actions to play, and he's already 15 points behind. So I'm like 25 points ahead of purple at this stage. Same with orange, who I think in the first round... Oh, I think he took a loan and developed. Yeah, now I see. He took a loan and developed and didn't even put down any rails. Now the issue is he can't place down any rails because he's not connected anywhere. The level 1 pottery goes away, which is another kind of weakness or difficulty of playing pottery. His level 1 iron went away, so he's left with only 2 buildings on the map. And if you're left with so little buildings on the map, you become quite constrained. Like sometimes you just don't have actions to do. You cannot build rails. You get some of your industry cards. These you cannot build them because you have no network. So it's kind of very annoying. And orange is quite frankly is just behind at this stage because of his difficult Canal. And I think also with purple, I'm not 100% sure what happened in Canal made him fall so behind, but there was something off, something wrong. And yeah, he should be like 10 points higher. Yeah, I think like getting a level 3 iron out, for example, would have gotten him in 14 points higher and should have been doable. Yeah, so that's kind of the current standings. I'm ahead by 20 points. And at this stage, you also have to look a bit at the potential. What is the potential for the second age? For me, I don't have too much more potential. I have no iron more to build, so it's hard to have like very valuable actions like normally level 3 or level 4, which gets more than 5 victory points. But yeah, my idea is build some coal, get the economy going, build some beer, and then maybe build my level 2 crate, my level 1 pottery, and sell. That would be ideal. I could sell it here to Nottingham and get the merchant bonus. But that's kind of a bit the limit. Like my point ceiling, it's going to be hard for me to make really high amount of points. So if I make, but then again, if I make 75, 80 points, I win the game. So I don't need to make exceptionally complicated moves, or I don't need to score big. In contrast, yeah, I think it's for purple, for example, purple can still build his level 3 and his level 4 iron, which are good points, but for the rest, it's kind of similar situation as me. Or he could also develop away his level 3 and 4 crate and then build the level 5 crate and sell. This can be quite strong, especially if you build in a location that you surround for the extra link points. For orange, the game plan is straightforward. It's buildings, build a bit of these coal and irons, secure a location for your level 5 pottery, probably by just building a level 4 pottery on it, like you would build your level 4 pottery in Stafford. But in the meantime, just keep building links and iron and whatnot and beer, and then at the end of the game, build your level 5 pottery, build a beer or overbuild one of your beers, and then sell. And then on blue has basically access to 3 industries: the cotton, the beer, and the coal. The idea is you link, but not too much, like 4 or 5 links, a bit of coal, maybe some beer, and then in the second part of rail you just build cotton everywhere, maybe some level 1 pottery, and then build a beer and sell 3-4 industries. So when you play more traditional cotton, you wouldn't have access to beer. You could of course develop it away and build a beer, like for a farm brewery typically. But oftentimes you would just build, let's say, 2 cottons, 2 high-level cottons, maybe a pottery, and then sell 2-3 industries. That would be it. But when you have access to beer, you can actually build more industries. You can build 4, maybe even 5, and sell. And the combination of the merchant beer plus your own beer, you should be able to sell 4 industries, maybe 5. Depends a bit on how it goes. But yeah, often the 2 cotton ones, they're secure for you. Then the 2 extra you build from your beer, and then who knows, maybe 1 or 2 of the others. So 4 to 5 industries is doable. And so there's a lot of point potential here in blue. Yeah, so this is kind of the current standing at the start of rail. And for me, the big question is here: is it possible for any of these players to come back, assuming I don't make terrible mistakes or so? Now, one small comment on my own cards. They're actually pretty terrible. The iron card is useless. The derby card is useless. The Burton-on-Trent cards, they're well, I could build 1 coal, but then the second one is useless. And none of these cards is any good. Cards that would have been good is a beer card, a Utok Cedar card, a Nunyatan card, a Coldropedale card. I would have really liked that. Yeah, a pottery card would have been good. So all of these would have been quite good, but I have really none of them. I guess having 1 or 2 coal cards is okay, like it's useful, but yeah. So from my side, I have 27 coins, and what do? I start building 2 links, and I build this one north and this one here, They're fairly valuable in link points. They spread a bit my network. I'm thinking if I get a beer card, I can still build a new Tuxedo. And developer card, I think maybe there's a mistake. I mean, link, like from a link perspective, it's quite good. It's probably 7 points. I was thinking also if I draw a pottery card, I can immediately build and sell. But of course, this might also backfire, and I might just help out other people. So not 100% convinced about this link. But yeah, it's from a point perspective quite good. And I get 2 new cards, and after throwing away the Derby card, I get again the Derby card and the Wolverhampton card, which I already had. So I have really garbage cards. But I mean, if I'm just railing, it doesn't really matter too much. I was thinking maybe I should have, instead of build a second link, I should have built a coal, like in Burton-on-Trent. Would have spread a bit my network afterwards. I could maybe think of going to the farm brewery. Yeah, I think that's kind of maybe a small mistake I made. I could have just built a coal. The coal price was fairly high. Like, of course, the coal price is low. You don't want to build coal, but if coal price is that high, it could have been considered. And I also think the level 2 crate, it would have been better in Birmingham. You want to have access in Birmingham in rail. You have so many options from it. It's just kind of very useful. And now I cannot even connect Oxford to Birmingham as I don't have access in Birmingham. Yeah, so it continues here. The rail era continues. Let's look a bit at what the players are doing. Blue built a beer in New Tuxedo. Let me come to this afterwards. We see immediately Orange is securing the spot for his level 5. It's good to secure it early on because there's not that many spots, right? There's this spot, but this is already gone. In Stoke-on-Trent, there's a Stafford spot, and there's a Belper spot. So I think it makes sense to secure it early on, and then you only overbuild it at the very end. You don't need to overbuild earlier and sell earlier, like do other stuff in the meantime. So that's from Orange. And from Blue builds a beer here, and I think here he makes a misclick, basically. He totally has the money to double rail. He has 54 cash, but accidentally only single rails to Birmingham, and you wrote in chat afterwards, so same misclicked. So I get to double rail of one of his beers. I think I take a loan and double rail. Yeah, so I rail towards Stafford's and rail here. They're valuable links, and I was still hoping to maybe get a pottery card and then, immediately build a Stafford cell. Of course, if someone draws a Stafford card, I kind of help them. I'm wondering if I should not have, instead of this one, maybe build towards Nuneaton in case I get a beer card, still a valuable link, or maybe towards Valsall as well. Yeah, so there's some other options, and of course the beer here I only drew it after I had played, so I didn't know I was going to get it. But if I had built towards Nuneaton, then next turn I could build my beer there. Kidderminster, pretty much a garbage card for me as well. Only one location, yeah, only one slot. And my economy is actually not too well. I think I should have maybe built an extra coal mine early on, though. I'd say typically in the first 1-2 turns of rail, I build rails, and then I build in turn 3 and 4 maybe 1 or 2 coals to get a bit of cash, a bit of income, a bit of points, but not too much. But it doesn't make sense to build coal in the very last turns. They're rarely worth more than, I mean, depends how you get, but they're rarely worth 4 or 5 points that you want to get per turn, per action, sorry. But in early rails, 1 or 2 calls can help a lot. So basically Blue leaves an extra beer here due to a misclick, and Purple gets to profit from it. I would have in any case been able to double rail of it, but Purple not. So then we move to next turn. Purple double rail of it, going to the farm brewery, securing the farm brewery. Then Orange managed to build a Nuneaton and then double rail as well, grabbing here some valuable links, spreading his network, getting access to Birmingham, which is important. Blue then builds another beer and 2 links, this one and this one. This is good because it secures a farm brewery and it secures you these locations. I mean, no one else can build cotton. It's all behind the three level 1 cotton, so none of us can build it. And he can then just whenever he wants build his cottons here and sell it. And I think when you go cotton in Canal, you don't want to build in Worcester or Kidderminster. You want to build in dual-use locations like Birmingham or Thamesworth or Nuneaton or in Derby, so that then when the rail comes, these locations are just secure for you. You're the only one that can build here. If he had used up these locations in Canal, I mean, of course, depends a bit on the merchant setup. It wouldn't have made sense in this game, but imagine Blue would have made used up these locations in Canal, like Kidderminster and Worcester. In rail, then these other locations, coal could get built there, and then the location is gone, or here same, and very quickly you're under stress because your Canal locations just go away or get taken away by others. So you don't want that to happen, and that's kind of why I think this is the right way to play it. So from my side, I built finally a coal mine in Burton-on-Trent to get my income a bit up, get a bit of cash, and then I built this link, which is still quite valuable. And here I'm also thinking, I'm so far ahead of them, they will try to overbuild me, and they will try to overbuild my level 2 and my level 3 in Coventry. And if they just overbuild one of the 2, my lead is, I think, good enough that I can maintain it. But if they overbuild both, it kind of put my lead at risk. So I'm deliberately building towards iron locations like Walsall and later on Dudley and Redditch, so that people, if they have the iron cards, they can just play their iron in Dudley and Redditch and Birmingham, and they don't try to overbuild me. Because to overbuild me, they would need, they would need they would need this to be connected for Stoke-on-Trent, and then they would need to have the right card, or they would need access to the level 4, which I don't think they have at the moment. No, they don't have it at the moment, and then have exactly the Coventry card, or for orange, an iron card. But purple couldn't overbuild in Coventry without the Coventry card. So small little things here. I'm trying to make it easy for them to build iron elsewhere and not seek to overbuild me. Then we go to the next turn. We're here, 4th turn of rail. What happened in the meantime? Let's have quickly a look. I think purple double railed a lot of the beer that blue had provided here. And here I noticed something odd. Or so basically purple secured the farm brewery with these 2 links. Now the links around Canuck, they're often not the most valuable ones, which is why I wouldn't rush this farm brewery on turn 1 of rail. Some of the links around Birmingham or around Derby and Utoxeter, they're worth 7-8 points, and these ones are like worth 4 or 5 points. Depends a bit on how much gets built, but it's not even guaranteed that this gets built. So purple here, with his double rails, builds around Coalbrookdale and Kidderminster, and then around Stafford and Canuck. And I'm not 100% sure why. I don't think these are such strong links. This is like 5 points. This one is maybe worth 5 points as well. I mean, that's conditional something gets built here. And I think some of the links around Birmingham would have been stronger. I mean, the one here to Walsall gains him access to Walsall, which, depending on what cards he had, maybe. I mean, then again, you already had access to iron here. So I'm not really sure why he built those 2. And I think I would rather have built, I think around Birmingham. Yeah, but then again, it's maybe not a huge difference. And what probably purple was thinking, or at least what I would be thinking in purple's shoes, develop away the level 3 and the level 4, then build the level 5 in Canuck. The level 5 is not super strong compared to some of the other industries. It's only 8 points, but it gives extra link points, which means if you build it in Canuck, because you already have 4 links around it, you would gain 8 in link points. So 8 in industry value plus 8 in link points. And if you would just have built a coal, you would only have gotten 4 in link points. So it's an additional 4 points you're getting in link points. So it's as if your level 5, instead of being worth 8 points, is worth 12 points. And the tricky thing with the level 5 beer is that they cost 2 beer to sell, but you have the farm brewery. So in my view, purple's plan here is, congratulations, you surrounded Canuck, develop away, build the level 5 crater, and yeah. But the issue with purple is that his income is low, his cash is low, his economy doesn't seem so strong. Did he build ever a coal? Yeah, I mean the Canuck he built, but somehow it's very low. I don't think he managed to build any extra beer, so he only has these 2 beer. It's pretty much the same for me, actually. I only built these 2 beer. Where is it? This one and this one. At one point I did draw an extra beer card, but by the time I drew this extra beer card, there was no slot free. So there was the Nunefton slot, which orange occupied, and then blue occupied the Utoxeter slot and Coalbrookdale slot. So we had 3 free slots plus 2 farm breweries. This is pretty typical. I did a 2 free slots and then the 2 farm breweries. Yeah. So it's also interesting to notice that blue did develop away one of his level 2 beers, and in consequence, these are level 3 beers. And he already has access to level 4 beers, which is 10 points and really strong. And typically it's hard to get access to level 4 beers unless you overbuild one of your own beers. But in like with decent players, there will be at least 3 people going for cotton, if not 4, 3 people going for beer, if not 4, and so there will never be enough space to get all your beers out without overbuilding or aggressively developing away. I think blue maybe also got a bit lucky here with the card draw. I would have been very happy to get beer out. I just didn't have the cards, and I guess purple, same story. Okay, so it's my turn here in turn 4, and I end up building a link. It's worth 6 points, it's a decent link, and a gold mine. This brings my income to 12, which is where it should be. I don't think there's a big point to increase it further than that. It becomes very inefficient, right? You need 3 income steps to increase by 1, effectively, your income. But here it was a good play, and I think coal price were at max as well. And it's maybe a good moment here to pause a bit and look at the score, right? So I'm at 120 points. Of course, some of these locations will be filled up, some of the industries will be flipped. But let's say I have something like 125, 126 points. Yeah, and when looking at purple only has 94 points. That's, yeah, basically easily like a 30-point gap or 25-point gap. Of course, here, let's be generous and give him another 5-6 points. So I'd say he's around 100. Blue hasn't played this round yet, so it's not 100% comparable, but has good income, has a decent amount of cash, but only 87 points at the moment. Of course, we know what's going to come. He's going to build cotton, he's going to build his level 4 beer on the farm brewery and then sell everything. And the question is, how many points will that generate? But then again, I'm still far ahead. I'm still like 25, 30 points ahead of blue. And then orange, similar amount of points. Actually, orange really didn't get many rails out, so there's only 1 rail here and 1 rail here. There's really much, like really not enough. But I think it's just like he had a lack of access to things. His economy was not so strong. He had to do a developing early rail, and all those things really set him behind. And yeah, if he had made 1 or 2 less canals in the Canal era, and he could have maybe then railed on turn 1 of rail, he would be like 10 points further. He would be at 100 points easily. Okay, then we go to the 5th round here, and sorry, this is taken from my mobile phone. We see that blue got out the Stafford card. I really was a little bit unlucky with the cards because, I mean, if I had the Stafford card or a pottery card, I could have built there. I had access to everything. But okay, so blue built a pottery card, and for the rest, what happened? I think not much. So it's my turn to play. And yeah, that's a bit the weakness when you go brick, is that sometimes in rail you just run out of really good options. If you look at I mean, I could still build the level 2 crate and then sell it to the merchant beer for +3 points, but it's not really exceptionally good. I was hoping to build my level 1 pottery, but there's no slots left, so that's gone. And yeah, I kind of don't have really high scoring industries to build there, so I'm just building rails, grabbing maybe 5-6 points per rail that I build. I'm trying to maintain my 20-point lead. So that's turn 5. We then move to turn 6 of rail, and what is happening now is that blue is starting to build his industries. So he built in turn 5 the level 1 pottery. Sorry, in turn 4, I think. In turn 5, he then builds the level 3 of cotton that he still had, and he's gonna slowly keep doing that, just adding every turn 1 or 2 of these high-level industries, and then at the end building the beer and selling. Here, purple does something surprising. He builds the beer, and then I don't think he does anything with it. I don't really remember. Oh no, I think he just builds the beer and that's it. And as I said, I think the game plan here for purple would have been to develop a way and then build a level 5 crate. I mean, I'm not saying this would have won in the game. It's just he's behind already from the Canal era. But I feel like if you have a farm brewery, that's how you should make use of it. Make use of it to sell some high-level industries. And yeah, he instead ends up building here. I'm not really sure why. I guess also his economy was under a lot of stress, and he still hasn't built. Oh no, he has built 1 coal here, but his economy is a bit weak. Yeah. From my side, I see the beer that's offered to me, and I decide to double rail. And I rail, yes, here and here and here, so or here up north as well. I don't remember, but maybe we have to check compared to the previous picture exactly. But I end up building 3 rails. Oh yeah, this here I had already built, so it's instead this one that gets built and this one. Both 5 points, so 10 points I take it, and then this one, of course, costs a lot of money. But I have a Wolverhampton card, so I can still build some coal, get a bit of cash, and then just keep railing. My strategy at this point is just, I mean, from my side, probably build a level 2 crate here and then sell it. That's 8 points. 8 points in 2 turns is not exceptionally good, but because I have so many links around it, it will actually be more valuable. It will be more like 12 points in 2 turns, which is quite good. Unfortunately, some of the others also have connections, so it gives them points a bit. So, but more like 10 points in point difference. That's a bit my game plan. So nothing fancy, just keep building links as long as they're like 5-6 points. Here and there some coal to keep the cash going, and that's it. At the moment, I still have not been overbuilt. My level 2 iron is still standing, my level 3 iron is still standing. I hope it stays that way, and we see that the iron price is at maximum, which it doesn't bother me. I'm not consuming iron at the moment anyway. But yeah, and point-wise, I'm still quite ahead. Because, I mean, blue, for example, has 10 points here, 9 points here, so there's 19 points. Of course, there's some good merchant beers here. There's a +4 here, there's a +3 here. I mean, so let's be nice and say that this is 25 points, but then again, I'm still quite ahead. Of course, blue has a lot of income, though, has a lot of cash. Orange also has a lot of cash, and I'm kind of nowhere here. Oh yeah, I think I know what happened. Purple built this this level 3 beer to double rail, and he realized one of the beers will be consumed by me, but he will get the other beer to double rail. Okay, man, I don't think double rail is that valuable at this stage, to be honest. I mean, many of the good links are kind of gone. I mean, this one here is still 5 points, but how many are still worth 5 points? Yeah, it's pretty much the only good link remaining, actually. This is probably going to be 5 points, but for the rest of these links here, they will be like 3-4 points, maybe. So there's not much to double rail anymore. So the timing of his beer is a bit weird. Either you build it early and then double rail of it, or you build it late and then use it to sell your high-level industries. And I think just purple misplayed this a bit. We move then to turn 7, and there's kind of a big swing. A lot of stuff happened in between, and that's unfortunately the disadvantage of playing. I'm up there just commenting these screenshots, but still, I think it's an interesting game. Purple builds some extra links. This one here, this one here. Not entirely sure what else happened. Oh, he also built his iron, finally. And yeah, that's kind of from purple side. Orange overbuilt. Finally, his level 4 with level 5. So you do this only at the very end, as he's doing. That's the correct way to do it. There's no need to do it earlier. No need to rush. Fight first for the valuable links, and at the very end, you do your action. No one can stop you from doing. And yeah, so that's from orange side. From my side, I built in Wolverhampton. I think I built a coal mine, and then I built finally my level 2 crate here. Would have also been happy if someone else builds there, but I think actually they don't have access. They can't do it. But yeah, so I built it myself with the idea to sell, as I said. Worst case, if someone steals this before me. But I don't think it can happen at this stage anymore because yeah, I don't think anyone can steal this right to DAF. And we see blue in the meantime consume some of his cash already to build the level 4. And it's kind of interesting to keep track of how many points everyone has here. So this is 20 points up north that the red has. So red is more around 140 points. I mean, let's count it exactly right. So this is 137, 130, 8, 139, 140. Okay, so he's at 140 points if, you know, everything flips, which it will. He still has a good amount of cash and money. He can do anything he wants on his last turn. He probably actually has a bit too much money in cash because I'm not sure he will be able to convert all of this. But okay, so that's for orange, around 140 points. He's probably going to overbuild one of his own beers and then sell. Yeah, I guess that's what he's going to do. So we're looking at maybe 145 points. Maybe he's able to grab this one, but maybe not. And that's kind of the weird thing with level 5 beer, because you need 2 beer. If you take one of your own beer and one of the merchant beer, then maybe your own beer ends up helping an opponent even more. Orange also built here a rail and then overbuilt me in Stoke-on-Trent. So it finally happened. I did get overbuilt. This cost me 5 points. It's kind of not nice, but I mean, this is what happens, especially in the Parlor app where it's easy to see who's ahead. But I think in this game it's kind of obvious. People will overbuild you, and I've said this before, but if 3 players go iron, there's typically 1 overbuild in rail. If 4 players go iron, then there's no overbuild, and if 2 players go iron, anything could happen. Multiple 2, 3, 4 overbuilds could happen. But 3 players going iron and 1 completely skipping, I'd say it's fairly standard and probably the optimal play. I'm not 100% sure, but I say probably optimal play. So that's kind of what's happening from orange side. Purple, so building more rails. He still has access to his level 4 iron that he could get out, probably in Redditch, or maybe he has the Dudley card, I don't know. So still some potential, but we see just point-wise, there's not enough. 125, and he still only has 2 actions left. So this will be maybe 140 points in total. I guess maybe he builds here a coal. This would be another 7 points, and then maybe there's level 4 iron. So yeah, another 16 points. So 141. Maybe I mean this one slips 142. I think we're looking at 142 points for purple. And I don't remember the exact set for orange, but something like 145 for orange. And they're okay scores, but they're not good enough. If you want to win, you need 155, sometimes even more. And you will see in this game you will need more to win. Now, counting my own score, I have 142, plus 5, plus another 4. So it's 9, 10, 11. If I get the plus 3, it's 14, 15. So I have something like 15 points. All I need to do is sell, and I have 15 points extra, plus I can do something else on top of as well. I still have some extra actions. And then from blue side, blue still has a lot of cash. It's still 4 more actions to do. So blue can, with that amount of cash, for sure build here, level 4. I don't think he can build his last level 4 though. He would need to connect here to league, and it takes too many actions. I don't think he'll do it. But he can for sure build a level 4 here. So that's 24 points, 34 points, 43 points. Depending on which beers he manages to grab. Let's say he grabs both. He's at 50 points. Plus the links, 50, so 60, 70, 80 points, 60, 61, 62 points or something, plus the beer, 72, 73, 74 points. So blue is actually 74, I must have miscounted, but blue is actually very, very close in points. It's really surprising how blue was able to close a 20-point gap from Canal, but just here, building his level 4, then building the beer, and then selling everything, and we need to do the exact math, but he's very, very close to my score, actually. And quite a surprise comeback, I would say. But well, Cotton is very strong in rail, and Brick has this tendency to just peter out a bit, where you just don't have many good actions to do, so you just build some rails. I mean, this rail, for example, here is worth 4 points. It's really nothing to write home about. It's very mediocre. This one is only 5 points, etc. In the meantime, blue is building things that are worth 12 points. And if the merchant beer is good, and it is this game, you know, plus 4 here, plus 3 here, he has access to the farm brewery, so he can sell like 3-4 high-level industries. So let's continue here, and we get to the final age here. And jumps a bit forward, but basically blue, I think blue has to scout. Unfortunately, I don't remember what he did. I think he scouted and built a beer. He was lost in turn order, right? So he scouted, built a beer, and then built cotton and sell everything. And he grabs the bonus here, he grabs the bonus here, and he's at 161 points, guys. It's crazy comeback. I was 20 points ahead of him, and now I'm only 1 point ahead of him. Of course, I got overbuilt. Actually, I'm 2 points ahead because this one will flip. So I'm only 2 points ahead of him. Of course, I got overbuilt, which is 5 points, but still, blue was able to narrow down 20 or more points to just 2-3 points. So it's quite crazy. And I think it shows the strength of Cotton. 161 points normally would win you the game in pretty much most cases. And if you look back to Canal, I mean, at the start of Rail, his score really didn't look too impressive. Exactly right. 27 cash, 7 income, okay, not exceptional, and 64 points. It's not huge. Normally 70, 75, sometimes even 80 points is reachable with Cotton. So he's even, I would say, slightly behind. But the fact that he did 4 develops set him up in a much better way for the next age. In particular, the fact that he immediately has access to level 3 beers, has access to coal, has access to these 3 industries. And that's all you need. The coal for a bit of cash, to avoid loading too much, or maybe loan once, and then these are very high scoring, the cotton and the beer. So he kind of has all the tools for the second age, and he basically scores something like 100 points in the second age, which is really crazy. I think from my side, I end up scoring more around 80 points in the second age. Well, 85 if I had not been overbuilt. So I scored 85 in the first stage and then around 85 in the second age. He managed to score more than 100. So pretty impressive. So let's then look at the final score after Orange has played. So Orange overbuilds one of his own beers and then sells. And the final score is roughly what I had said 2 turns ago or 3 turns ago, with purple and orange in the low 140-ish range, and only 2 points between myself and blue here. So almost a comeback from blue. I remember when we were playing on turn 5 or 6, I was like, oh my god, am I going to lose this game? I can't believe it. I'm like 20 points ahead and I'm going to lose this game. Incredibly fun game. I really liked it. And yeah, I'd say pretty much a honorary win for blue here, because he came back from such a big point deficit. And keep in mind, he did a misclick at one point where he didn't consume one of his beers. If he had won, the game would have played out slightly differently. I mean, I would still have had access to the second beer, but still, I'd say he probably would have won the game. Yeah, 2 points he would probably have cost. That's it. That's Spoon today for this game. Sorry, talking for quite a long time here, but a really fun game. Yeah, so punch up if you like it, and let me know if you want to see more of this asynchronous game or what kind of strategy you want to see me playing. That's it. Have a good day, everyone. Spoon out.